what's up, SFL Nation? And welcome back to SFL Nights with AJ Striker. Thank you so much for joining me today or tonight or whenever you decided to hit that play button or turn on that radio dial. I really do appreciate it, y'all. Man, I hope that y'all got a chance to check out the games over this weekend and on Monday because they were phenomenal. I mean, some definitely big wins, but there were some comebacks that it has to be known for like game of the year or something like that because it was amazing to watch. But I'm going to go over all of that with you very shortly. First, I'm going to start off with my SFL chat around the water cooler featuring some top performances of the week, followed by my week 9 review, picks for week 10 and was I right? And I have a fantastic 4th and goal interview for you featuring Mr. Fierce Pierce. He's quarterback of our SFLM team, the San Jose Flight. And I have the man himself, Cameron Irvine, the commissioner of the SFL. He's going to give us some great information about why he started it and how it affects him to actually do this. So, great show. Got it for you right here. Stay tuned. Okay, and I'm back with my SFL chat around the water cooler. So, top performances of the week goes as follows. Rachel Colston, free safety for Carolina, had 7 tackles, 3 interceptions for 10 yards, and her longest, actually went 11 yards per reception. Whistle Jones, kicker, with 4 field goals made for 4 attempts. His longest attempt was 51 yards. Now, if I ever say that someone went long, that means either the carries, that was their longest yard carries, or their longest reception yards. So if you ever just hear me just say that, that's what that means. Chris Curtis, wide receiver, had 7 receptions, 114 yards, 16.3 yards per reception, 1 touchdown, and 44 long. Albert Begin, free safety for Queen City, had 13 tackles with 1 pass deflection, 1 interception, 5 yards, and 1 forced fumble. Boo Chisholm, wide receiver for the Atlanta Swarm, had 9 receptions, 149 yards, 16.6 yards per reception, 1 touchdown, and went 39 long. Blake Hambrick, cornerback, had 5 tackles, 1 pass deflection, 1 interception, 42 yards, and 1 touchdown. Tucker Lewis, defensive tackle, had 4 tackles, 2.5 sacks, 2.5 sacks I should say, and 5 tackles for loss, while Thomasina Rahman, cornerback, had 4 tackles, 1 tackles for loss, 1 interception, and 50 yards, and 1 touchdown. Otis Boudreaux, kicker, went 4 for 5, and his longest field goal was 50 yards. KT Horrell, linebacker, had 12 tackles, 2 pass deflections, and 1 forced fumble. Lincoln Kingseed, for strong safety, had 15 tackles, 1 pass deflection, and 1 interception, while Robert Redford, running back, had 30 carries, 149 yards, 5 yards per carry, 1 touchdown, and 36 long. Amanda Moyer, kicker, went 4 for 4, and her longest kick was 46 yards. Jeff Como, wide receiver, had 9 receptions, 152 yards, 16.9 yards per reception, 1 touchdown, and went 50 long. Raymond Jones, III, defensive tackle, had 7 tackles, 4.5 sacks, 6 tackles for loss. Mel Davis had 14 tackles with 2 pass deflections and 1 tackles for loss. Kentez Johnson, quarterback, had 15 completions out of 21 attempts, 229 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception, and 43 long. Chase Earl, wide receiver, 5 receptions, had 130 yards, 2.26 yards per reception, 2 touchdowns, and went 52 long. Tank Bennett, strong safety, had 8 tackles, 2 pass deflections, 2 interceptions, and 27 long. And lastly, Mike St. Green, wide receiver, had 9 returns for 282 yards, 1 touchdown, and his longest return was 98 yards. So congratulations to all of you. If you didn't hear your name on here, please don't worry. I actually decided to take all the names for the player of the games that I would have normally announced in the second part of this, and I've taken them out of this because your name is going to be put up there anyway. Your picture's going to be put up and everything. So I figure, for those that just didn't get that moment, this is their time to shine. So congratulations, y'all. A little information about Sector 6 Apparel. Now, Sector 6 is one of our partners that we get our apparel from. So whenever you're watching our games and you see like little clips of us playing and you see our jerseys, we have performance tees, we have flags, all of that good stuff. You can purchase your favorite team's items from Sector 6 Apparel. Now, Sector 6 is the official apparel provider of the Simulation Football League, and replica jerseys are out on sale now. Get your name on the back of your team's jersey or your fan favorite team jersey, and visit the team stores and libraries for purchase options through sector6apparel.com or through our website at www.simulationfl.net. Just hit the shop button. Next up, I have my Week 9 review, picks for Week 10. Was I right? Stay tuned. Okay, so I'm back with my review for Week 9, picks for Week 10. Oh. Now, I didn't do too bad this week as far as my picks were concerned. I went 7-4. There were some surprising losses, including my game, that occurred. And I'm here to tell you all about that. So, here we go. The Arizona Scorpions took on the Carolina Skyhawks, and Carolina won 33-14. No! I was obviously wrong about this game. The player of the game was halfback Logan Jack. 17 attempts, 133 yards, 1 touchdown, and 64 reception yards. And a special shout out goes out to Rachel Colson. She was on the show last week. She actually had 3 interceptions off me. So what can you do, man? I guess I thought she was on the team. I don't know what was going on with it. That happened on Saturday on September the 12th. Also, on September 12th, Queen City took on the Denver Night Wings, and Denver won 44-24. I was right about this game. Player of the game was halfback Jared McChesney with 31 attempts, 213 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 41 reception yards. Also on the 12th, the Atlanta Swarm took on the Tulsa Desperados, and Atlanta won 37-20. I was right about this game. And the player of the game was Mr. Hairflip himself, quarterback Bryant Dynasty, with 32 completions out of 41 attempts, 386 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a quarterback rating of 130.3. Also on the 12th, Baltimore Vultures took on the St. Louis Gladiators, and Baltimore won 34-7. I was right about this game. Player of the game was halfback Troy Gaines, or T-Roy Gaines, 19 attempts, 165 yards, 4 touchdowns, 8 reception yards. On Sunday, the 13th, the Chicago Wildcats took on the Las Vegas Fury, and Las Vegas won 40-20. Some of these big wins that I was talking about. Player of the game was Max Jackson, strong safety for the Fury, had 2 interceptions, 1 touchdown, 6 tackles, and 1 pass deflection. Also on Sunday, Mexico City Aztecs took on the Lone Star Glory, and Lone Star won at home 30-13. I was wrong about this game. That was Crowd Play's game of the week as well. And player of the game was fullback Cameron Collier, with 6 attempts, 32 yards, 1 touchdown, and 34 reception yards, and 1 reception touchdown. All right. Also on the 13th, Vancouver Legion took on the Sioux Falls Sparrows, and Sioux Falls won at home 20-16, and I was wrong about this game. Player of the game was strong safety A.J. Levy with 6 tackles, 148 kick return yards, and 1 kick return touchdown. Also on the 13th, the Fort Worth Toros took on the Charleston Predators, and Charleston won 19-13. I was right about this game. Player of the game was halfback Keith Swearingen with 20 attempts, 95 yards, 1 touchdown, and 7 reception yards. Also on the 13th, Florida Storm took on the Portland Fleet, and Florida won in a big way, 31-0. Player of the game was quarterback Ron Cochran with 32 completions for 43 attempts, 370 yards, 4 touchdowns, and his quarterback rating is 111.6. On Monday, September 14th, the Houston Hyenas took on the London Knights, and Houston won 49-27. Also large margin win. I was wrong about this game. Player of the game was halfback Warren Murray with 23 attempts, 308 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 5 reception yards. And last but not least, and this is the game that I was speaking of when I said this should definitely be game of the year for me. I know there's been a couple, but this one was crazy. The Louisiana Revolution took on the Jacksonville Kings. Jacksonville was at home, and Louisiana won 48-34. And just a little note about that game, it was a come from behind win. When I originally entered the game, it was right after halftime, and I believe Louisiana was losing like 24. It was like 7-24 or something like that. And then all of a sudden, they turned on the afterburners. Johnny Pickler, which is the quarterback, found some magic. He was able to work something out, and they won in a big way. And I was right about this game, actually, just thinking outside the box. But Johnny Pickner was the player of the game with 29 completions for 36 attempts, 347 yards, 6 touchdowns, and 146.4 quarterback rating. So, congratulations to everybody that won. As I said, these games are starting to separate. You're starting to separate yourself from the pack with wins like that. So I believe that Denver and Louisiana are number 1 and number 2. I can definitely see that being the championship game, but you never know. We still got 3 more games to play. Speaking of which, my picks for week 10 goes as follows. All right, so week 10 review. Well, week 10 predictions, I should say. On Saturday, September the 19th at 3 p.m., the Las Vegas Fury will be taking on the Atlanta Swarm. And I'm going to go with Atlanta. That is a home game for them. And I don't think that they have lost too many games at the Hive, so I'm just going to roll with them on that one. September 19th at 5 p.m., Mexico City Aztecs will be taking on the Tulsa Desperados. And I think that Tulsa will win this game. Again, this is a home game for Tulsa. Teams tend to win at home. Because they're defending their home turfs, Although we do have those that, don't quite make it, but I think I'm going to roll with Tulsa on this one. At 8 p.m., Fort Worth Toros will be taking on the Louisiana Revolution, and again, it's going to be a home game for Louisiana, so I'm going to roll with them. Denver Nightwings will be taking on the Chicago Wildcats. It's going to be a great game. I think that even though, now this is where I'm going to kind of differ, because I think even though Chicago is at home, Denver is one of the number 1 teams. So I think Denver will probably have their card on this one. So I'm going to roll with Denver. On September the 20th at 2:30 p.m., Carolina will be taking on the Houston Hyenas, and I'm going to go with Houston on this one. This is a home game for them. Carr did win their game against us last week, but I think that Houston will actually be able to, I think Houston will have that slight edge over them. So we'll see how that works out. 4:30 p.m., Lone Star Glory will be taking on the Queen City Corsairs on the 20th as well. And I am going to go with Queen City on this. Queen City is a 4-time champion of this league. think right now they're kind of struggling a little bit, but I think when they're at home, they pretty much dominate. So I'm gonna go with Queen City. At 6:30 p.m. on the 20th, Vancouver will be taking on the Vancouver Legion will be taking on the Arizona Scorpions, and I am going to definitely go with Arizona. We're going to be at home, and we will defend our home turf. At 9 p.m., Charleston Predators will be taking on the Portland Fleet, and I think that Charleston is going to actually take this win. Portland has been struggling a bit. I think that, any team can win on any given Sunday. But I think that Charleston will just have that edge over them. They have been playing pretty good ball. So, and also at 9 p.m., Lone Star Glory will be taking on the St. Louis Gladiators. And I'm going to go with St. Louis on this one. Now, London did lose last week at home, so I know they're probably going to have a chip on their shoulder. But St. Louis has been playing better than people actually expected them to. So, yeah, I'm going to go with St. Louis. Sioux Falls will be taking on Baltimore. Baltimore will be at home, and I have to go with Baltimore, especially when they're at home. Sioux Falls is a fantastic team, though. They have been playing lights out, too. But I think, again, Baltimore will have that edge, and that is happening on Monday, September the 21st at 7 p.m., and on Monday, September 21st at 9 p.m., Jacksonville Kings will be taking on the Florida Storm. And this is basically going to be championship game all over again because these two have played in championship before. So this is going to be a great game to watch. Looking forward to this one. I think since Florida is at home that they are going to win this game at Jacksonville. They are a fantastic team. Although sometimes when, it gets to that fourth quarter, sometimes the interception bug hits them. So I think that Florida will definitely take advantage of that. But I'm hoping that you are enjoying the show thus far. And keep it right here for my 4th and Goal interview. Coming up right now. And welcome back to my 4th and Goal interview. One of two, actually. My first guest is a fantastic newcomer to the league. He is the quarterback for our SFLM sports team, minor leagues team, and his name is Fierce Pierce. How you doing?
I'm doing great this morning. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. It is early.
It's a little early, but we can do it.
That's right. Well, I want to welcome you to the show. Thank you so much for your time, Pierce.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
Anytime. So, since you are new on the show, I've got to get to know you questions. So, give us your real name, your age, hometown, some interesting facts, and your favorite NFL team.
Okay, so my full name's Colin Pierce. I'm from Mason, West Virginia. I played football in high school. You actually had one of my coaches on here a couple weeks ago, Dave Barr. After high school, I went to physical therapy school, and I had my doctorate in physical therapy. That's where I'm at right now, at work, getting ready to start the day here at 8 o'clock. I usually work in Point Pleasant. I'm the director of that clinic, but here I'm working in Ripley, which is a neighboring clinic, and I'm helping out this morning a little bit. Fun facts about me. I love to play video games. I like to do some woodworking in my spare time, and really like some board games too. I get a lot of slack from some of my friends because I have been working on the same board game, trying to make one for about 6 years now. It just kind of comes and goes in spurts, and we did play through it once, and my friends told me to never break it back out again because it was that bad.
No, it wasn't that bad, was it?
But I just don't want to bury it yet. I haven't given up on it.
Don't you bury your dream. You don't do that. I don't care what they say.
When it comes to favorite sports teams, you may not believe this, but I don't have a favorite NFL team.
Really?
I don't really get into the fandom, and that's probably because I grew up in a Browns household. So we've been kicked enough times. I've watched my dad wash his shirt 100 times, wear it inside out, wear it backwards to try to do anything to get his Browns to win. And it just doesn't happen. You might have to have him on here. He's part of the league too.
I would be happy to. And see what else we can do to get you guys some wins over there. Cleveland, they've gone through it. I mean, but a lot of teams have, right? Like the Saints have been the Aints. Miami, has been non-existent almost since Marino left. So, it's.
But at least they have existed. So they have that going for them.
Yeah, that's true. So you said you're a physical therapist.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, I've always wanted to do that. That's like one of my dream jobs.
Really?
Yes.
Well, there's lots of different settings that you can work in, obviously. What I do is outpatient. So I see a lot of joint replacements and just general pains and weaknesses. But I also do treat some athletes too. So that's a fun part for me.
Okay, awesome. And how have you been faring through this COVID situation?
We work for a smaller company, so it's been tough, but thankfully we've had the payroll protection plan that was given by the government. So we've been working to follow by those guidelines to make sure we can kind of sustain through this. So we're doing fine. We're hanging in there.
Awesome. So tell me, how did you find out about the SFL?
So Dave Barr plays for Jacksonville. He was my defensive coordinator when I was in high school, and he was great. He always had the best plans, the scouting reports. I've never had any other coach like that. And anytime that we would shut out a team, he would give us all 0 bars.
Oh, really?
That was his motivation for us. If we shut out a team, he'd go buy all of us 0 bars and we'd get them the next day. But he had the coolest plans. He knew when they ran a certain formation, what side they were going to run the ball to most of the time. He was inside their huddle, it seemed like. So he's always been good. But we've kind of, after high school, didn't really talk much because who talks with their old football coach? And then we just started getting a friendship back together. So we live in a really small town, and so there's not a lot of friends to be found sometimes, and we just kind of came together and hung out. We have some common interests, but he brought up the SFL, and I looked into it, and he was playing, and my younger brother was playing, and I thought, I'm going to look into this. So then I got in, and I got my dad on board, and I got 2 of my other friends on board, and we're all from West Virginia, and it's such a fun thing. It's so much fun.
Oh, that is awesome. Got most of the family. We have a lot of families and a lot of friends, that have brought each other.
It makes a big difference.
It does. So you told me that you played football before.
Yes.
Was your position quarterback?
Actually, that's another good story. So what I played receiver and outside linebacker.
Okay.
But there was a very short time in my life where the JV team needed a quarterback, and I was a freshman. And one thing you should know about me is I can catch, but I cannot throw. So I don't know what they were thinking. But Dave Barr says, because he was teaching me how to play quarterback on the bus to our first game.
Oh, oh my God, no.
He said, we don't need you to throw the ball, but you're the only one that knows all the plays and knows where everybody's going to be. So that's why I was quarterback. And in my long quarterback career, I was 1 for 2 with 1 interception.
Oh.
I had in 1 touchdown.
Hey, there you go. You had a little bit of everything.
maybe I'm kind of living vicariously through what didn't happen in JV and trying to make something happen here.
Awesome. So tell me, how did it feel to get picked up by the San Jose Flight as a quarterback?
They were so welcoming from the beginning. They're awesome. I think most of my coaches are from Lone Star.
Oh,
And they are such a good group. They've really have been warm from the beginning, and they answered any question that I have. They're pointing me in the directions I need to go. Coach Craven just released a podcast for our locker room chat, so just to kind of give us some pointers for the draft and things like that. Just things that are out of their way that are super helpful. So I think San Jose is going to do a good job this year. My hashtag for this year is worst to first. That's
there
what
you
we're
go.
trying to do here for San Jose, but we're going to have a good time.
Awesome. And I actually covered the SFLM during its first season, last season, and that was a good time. I was really happy to see all the rookies out there having a good time, and you guys have that excitement about you, because
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
the world is all brand new, and I like it. I like it. So tell me, what have you been watching our games in the majors?
Yeah.
So what is one game that you've watched that kind of solidified you actually wanted to be a part of the league? Is there one or?
There's not one in particular. It was more of the conversation with Dave Barr and looking into it, because when I first got my subscription, we just started the first week of check-ins for the rookies. So there really wasn't a whole lot going on at that time. So there wasn't a particular game where I was like, yeah, this is it. But it was more of going back and looking. And him and my brother were talking about their time. They both played for the Navigators in the minors, and they were talking about how much fun they had. So I just wanted to get in on it.
Okay, awesome. So tell me, what type of locker room guy are you?
I try to be in there as often as I can. I'm usually in the locker room chat daily. I'm in the generals daily because my job lets me do that. I have my laptop here, and when I'm working one-on-one with the patient, I tell them to go give me 3 sets of 10 squats. Usually I'm logging into Discord real quick and typing something. So just trying to stay involved, because I think that's a big piece of it. You want people to know who you are, and you want to be involved and answer questions. And I try to pay attention. There's so many feeds that we have in there. Sometimes I don't catch them all, but trying to tell the newcomers hello, and try to be a mentor to them because people have been so good to me. But
Fantastic. Tell me, what is going to be your number one goal as quarterback of the San Jose Flag?
I'm hoping to get involved in some scouting and
Okay.
some reports and things like that. I really am trying to learn as much as I can, because I'm also partnered with Dave Barr on the West Virginia Wild bid. And we know that we're both new, and one thing we have against us is our experience in the league. So we want to learn as much as we can. So Hugo and Craven and Liam and all those guys are willing to help me learn the things that I need to learn, teach me some strategies. I think they're going to kind of let me help coach with the flight this year, which will be an awesome experience.
Definitely.
So I think you can't really put a price on that. I want to be more than just the player. I want to help invest into the league a little bit and help it reach those goals.
Wonderful. Speaking of investing time in the league, do you plan on doing anything else? Like, would you like to be a broadcaster or work for stats for the league or anything of that nature?
I'd like to learn all of it eventually.
Okay.
I would like to at least dip a toe in some of those pools, depending on what I feel like I do better at versus others. But I would like to try some things out. I think it's important for anybody who's thinking about owning a team or being part of the major part of the league and the executive leadership team, that they know how to do that kind of stuff, so that I can teach somebody who's coming in or whatever. So yeah, definitely want to get involved.
Good stuff. Now, you're going to be on that expansion bid with Dave Barr. How did that conversation even start for the both of you to say, hey, we're joining this SFL, the league, let's own a team? How did that start for you?
So Dave Barr told you he's a coach right now, and
Yes.
he's been coaching for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he's looking for something that he doesn't have to go to 2-a-days for anymore. something he can set in his air conditioned living room, and, but still be a coach. That means a lot to him in that way. So he'll be a great head coach and an owner. But I with what I do for a living, interacting with people, I like the personal part of things. So to me, the GM spot is something that I'd be very interested in. I told you that I head up one of the clinics in Point Pleasant, so leadership is something I enjoy as well. That's also why I kind of chose quarterback, because I think that's a good platform for a team in a leadership role. So we just kind of talked about, we were like, why not? We can do it. We're invested into it. We're going to stick around for a while. And we really think West Virginia is an untapped area. Mm-hmm. So we want to kind of bring part of our culture into the SFL.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, I do, as I tell everybody, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
And I believe that the owners will make the right decision. And, I would imagine that it's very difficult for them because they have so many people, so many good qualifying people to choose from this go round.
There's a lot.
It is, so you definitely have to be organized with your presentation to them. You have to, you already got the market for it, so it's going to be very interesting. But tell me, where do you see yourself in 5 years in life and in the SFL?
Wow. In life. I'm 28. That puts me in my low 30s. I think I'd like to still be where I am. Honestly, I like my position. I don't ever plan on moving. We live right across the road from my parents, so I like that. We have a little girl, and we are pregnant with our second one, and hopefully our last one. Two is enough. And I told my wife, if it is a boy or a girl, it doesn't matter. Especially if it's a girl, we're not trying again, because I say the only thing worse than 2 girls is 3 girls.
Oh, or it could be you could be hit with those twins.
No. Well, I'm very happy with where I am in life right now. In the SFL, whether we get an expansion bid or not, I want to see myself as a quarterback for a team, getting involved, helping in coaching, and kind of seeing where the SFL goes. The SFL has done such a good job. They've come a long way, but there's so much potential for the SFL, especially in pro sports, I think. So I want to be part of that and help with that. So I feel like part of West Virginia being an untapped network is a good part in our bid to help with those kind of goals.
Wonderful. One more question for you. Okay. How do you handle adversity and trash talk? Because there is a lot of it in the league.
I don't do good with trash talk. I don't. I'll probably just disappear for a little bit. I just don't. I can't do it. AJ. I don't know. I'm not good at it. Probably is what it is. It's probably because I'm so bad at it that I just kind of hide in a hole until it's all over. And then
No, the flamingo. Wait, no, don't do that.
But it's all fun and games, it's all fun. So, but I might try to throw a jab at somebody here and there and then run away. But
So what about the adversity part? Let's say team is down. Let's say, you've been losing and you're trying to boost the morale in the locker room, things like that. What do you do?
Oh, yeah, I can totally be positive. There's always a positive side to any situation. I found that out through a lot of life things that have been thrown at me. You have to look at it from a positive standpoint. So even just a little word of encouragement can go a long ways. But when it comes to adversity, one of the things that I'm facing right now is a quarterback in the SFL. Because I know that's tough, and I don't have a secondary build right now because I didn't want to have that to fall back on right now. So I wanted that to kind of push me to do the things that I need to do to make myself a good prospect for a team in the future. So sometimes I feel like if I'd give myself a secondary build, it'd be easy to not get into scouting and not get into the coaching things that I would need to learn because I could always do that, So, and I have another season. If things don't go my way this season, I have one more season and maybe I'll change my mind. But for now, we're sticking with quarterback, and I think that shows some adversity.
It does, and I mean, you never know. You never know. People, decide to have to leave, like Mike Dazzo and Joe Dazzo for Baltimore. They left in the middle of the season. They retired and things like that. So things happen. So you never know.
Never know. Nope.
Exactly. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show, and I am looking forward to having you on anytime that you want to come back.
It was great. I really appreciate it. This was my first podcast, and you've made it pretty low stress.
Oh, good. Well,
you do a good job.
I appreciate it. It's just like having maybe a glass of wine with a friend.
But not at 7:00 in the morning.
Exactly. That's why we do. But before I let you go, I have to give you the last word. So that can be a song, that can be a poem, or that can be just a simple shout out. Right now, the floor is yours.
So let me shout out to a lot of my coaches, Coach Craven and Liam, and Wally has been a huge help too, and working on this bid. He has a lot of good ideas, a lot of big picture ideas. He's been helpful. All those Lone Star coaches have been great. I'm not going to sing or recite poetry, but I did plan for this. I've watched a couple of your episodes, so I knew this was coming.
Okay.
One of my PTAs has a little daily calendar, motivational calendar.
Okay.
So we're going to go ahead. I haven't looked at this yet. So we're going to go ahead and rip over to the next day and see what kind of motivation we can have for our users today.
Okay.
I didn't look at this, but today is my lucky day.
See, there you go. I love it.
There you go.
We discovered something on us. See, maybe I should have you on every week so you can unveil what the
next one is. Yeah.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Or I could just send you the link to buy this so that you can do it on your own.
I kind of like the personal time. I like the face-to-face thing.
I agree. This has been good.
Thank you so much. And again, come back on whenever you feel like it. I'm actually going to try to check on you during your SFLM career.
Okay.
See how you're liking it, maybe towards the middle of the season, get your thoughts on it.
That sounds good. Sounds great.
All right. Well, you have a good day.
All right.
Help a lot of people.
I will do my best.
All right, then.
See ya.
See you. All right. And welcome back to my second Fourth and Goal interview with the wonderful, the fantastic Mr. Cameron Irvine, Commissioner of the Simulation Football League. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, Ashley, and I got to say, you have the best 5-second countdown in the biz. 5, 4, 3, and 2 were super official, and then that one. I was like, whoa! I entered into Jackson's universe. I'm super excited. That's incredible.
Well, I learned from the best.
No, I've never heard anybody say one like that. That was you. That was on point. That was on point.
Man, how are you doing today? Thank you for the compliment, by the way. But how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Week 9's in the books, and almost through our 15th regular season, and it's exciting. Man, the game that I had the pleasure of calling last night was one of the craziest games I've ever seen.
It had to be game of the year for me. I mean, up there, very close.
It was. Denver-Charleston the week prior was a very close, competitive, well-played football game. Nothing was easy. In the Louisiana-Jacksonville game, it was like throwing darts in the dark. They were flying all over the place, and you had no idea who was going to get hit in the eye or if it was going to be a bullseye. You just didn't know. It was a wild game.
It was, and I think I actually arrived right in the third quarter. So if I'm not mistaken, Louisiana was losing, and I made a comment in chat saying, I guess Reggie waited until I got there to start scoring, because that's exactly what happened.
They threw a wrench in, and it didn't work in the first half, but it started to work in the second half, and yeah, that was It was a pretty impressive road victory, I must say. That's not easy going into Jacksonville and getting a win, and they got it in a big way. So props to them.
Definitely. So, Cam, this is not your first time on the show. You have been one of my very special guests many times, but we have a new audience that is listening. So, I would like for you to give our new audience a little bit of information about you. So, just a little bit of like who you are, age, hometown, some interesting facts about yourself, and your favorite NFL team.
Geez, the eye roll game is
Listen.
a 10 out of 10, which is the exact opposite of Trubisky's throwing completion percentage in the first three. Anyway, I'm 29 years old. I have to get used to saying that. 29 years old, from San Antonio, Texas. Some interesting facts about me. I started working as a sports writer when I was 16. That was my first job, and stayed in sports all my life. I created a virtual football league that now hundreds of people are a part of, and I'm super blessed to be involved with it still to this day. I have a dog, 2 cats. The cats are mostly my fiance's. The dog is mostly mine, but we all share in the love together. We now live in Arkansas and love it. Very underrated state, and I don't think most people know what they're missing. So happy to be here. And I love ice cream, love music. I think that about sums me up, and I'm a football junkie. I know every team, every brand, everything to ever exist. So that's me.
So I guess you have to tell the listeners who your favorite NFL team is.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I left that out. The Green Bay Packers. It just sounds so much better than the Chicago Bears.
Don't go there. Don't go there.
You're the one that started this 5 minutes into the conversation.
Because your quarterback is almost in a walker himself.
Yeah, because all the cheap shots from Chicago put him there, but
oh no. Okay, he was the one that wanted to say he was discount double checking people, so he got checked.
That got a little annoying after a while, but who doesn't? Have you seen the Baker Mayfield progressive commercial where he's in a book club? You want to talk about annoying?
No,
that is one annoying commercial. He's like voting people out of the group, and it's like, oh goodness gracious. It's rough. It is rough.
So Cam, since I know you're a football junkie, but have you actually played sports yourself?
Yeah, I played basketball through high school. That was kind of the sport I was good at. Played a little soccer, loved it just to kind of kick the ball around, but was never super serious about it. Kicked field goals as a hobby with my grandfather. Hit a 45-yarder one time. It was like the greatest thing ever, but never was able to hit it again. And, of course, it's off a tee and nobody's standing in front of me. And, the wind was probably at my back significantly. I don't know. It's just you'd have to ask who's there. But no other football. Took a golf class in college, but never went because that's when I met my fiance. So always seemed to not be able to make it to golf class. So I never really learned how to play golf. Tennis, decent. Not much else. Can't skate, so could never play hockey.
Okay.
Could never be in the Olympics. So, watching me skate or rollerblade is like watching an animal, baby giraffe, learn how to walk.
Stop it.
It's ugly. It is ugly. So, yeah.
Well, you gotta. If you have any video, I would love to see that. Now we don't have to put that out here.
We will not be skating or rollerblading at a convention anytime soon. That's for sure.
See, a 45-yard field goal, huh?
Yep.
So that means if you were to, I don't know, get a player yourself,
right,
you'd probably be a kicker.
Yeah, I would be. A kicker or a fullback, I got a lot of aggression to take out. And I feel like fullback, there's nothing more ferocious than getting into the trenches and just plowing somebody over while your running back does all the heavy lifting. And I think it'd be a good therapeutic thing for me to be a fullback. So, yeah, fullback or kicker for me.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna keep you in mind when this off season comes up, just in case one of my team members decide they don't want to show. I got dibs.
I'll never be able to live that dream as a sacrifice for everyone else to live their dreams. But honestly, fullback's the way to go. Kicker, I already deal with enough criticism. I don't need criticism for missing a game-winning field goal. I don't need any of that pressure. Fullbacks never get blamed for anything. They miss a block. Well, they're just a fullback. They're not supposed to make that block. They're good. They're in the clear. Nicholas Sala's got it going on in Arizona. Nobody's blaming him for anything.
Yes, he does. He's helped DJ Mosley out plenty of times. So,
and plenty of times he hasn't, and you don't even remember because he's a fullback and he doesn't get blamed. It's perfect.
It is. So tell me, how did you come up with the concept for the league?
Tragic story. My brother always beat me in video games. He always wanted to win. I can't blame him for that. He didn't really care about well, you've already called that play 10 times in a row. Well, he doesn't care. I'm going to call it again because you can't stop it. And it got very frustrating. And then me and my best friend are playing Madden, and he's Dallas, and I'm Green Bay, and he just keeps throwing to Jason Witten over and over and over again with whatever garbage quarterback he had that whatever year that Madden came out. And it's probably Romo. And he just kept throwing it because it was a glitch in the game, and he wouldn't stop doing it, even though I told him, I said, I bet you can't beat me with any other play. And he said, I guess I don't have to find out. And he just kept calling the same play over and over and over again. And by the time I was down 35-0, I punched a hole in the wall, which I had to later repair. But I said, you know what? Enough is enough. I'm tired of people just trying to beat the video game. I want to see some football. I want to play some football. That's what I want to be involved with. So the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we go to every person and we say, now, you don't get to have this control anymore because you've abused your power. So we're going to need to take that away. And now you're going to have to sit there and suffer like the rest of us while you hope to execute what you want to execute. And in life, you don't get to control everything.
It's true.
And that's what we're trying to do. We are trying to simulate life as a coach, as a player, as a scout, as a general manager, as a team owner. And I think given the challenges of that, I think it replicates very well. Perfect, and especially when you're dealing with a game that is older and is not constantly getting updates and tweaks to its AI and all that stuff. You're working with a limited deck. So you try to make the most of that limited deck. And I think we've made the most of a $4 game sitting in a used bin somewhere in a GameStop. I think we've done pretty good with that investment.
I agree. And I think that is a very good reason, to do that, because to come up with that concept, because I used to play Madden, and, there are times where you do want to just kind of sit back and kind of let your player just do its thing. But of course you have to control it. But with this, it is definitely different because coaches are spending hours putting in these playbooks and trying to, scout and everything. And then you just let it go. And whatever happens, happens. Sometimes it works out in your favor. Sometimes it doesn't. But it's all just like real life, just like when Green Bay loses. It's nothing that you can control,
Wow. I don't know how many times you've seen that, but it doesn't happen as often as you might think.
Well, we can talk about that after the show, but
or 5 minutes in, whatever. It's your show.
But
Tell everybody what your favorite NFL team is. Well, I wasn't expecting that. Okay, that's where you want to go.
For those that don't know, Cam and I have this little bantering going back and forth about our teams and stuff like that, and we will forever give each other a hard time about our teams. We love each other, but when it's game time, no.
I had a stop in Chicago one time. It was -1. -1. We were waiting for a bus in the middle of Chicago to take us to Milwaukee. We were on our way to go to the Green Bay game. Our method of transport back then will never be repeated. But finances were a squeeze,
Right?
and so we're sitting in the middle of Chicago, -1 degrees. It was like December 20th, something like that. Union Station, amazing, one of the best buildings. I had some sort of mac and cheese there or something. It was the best. Maybe it's just because I hadn't had a hot meal in like 36 hours, but it was the best dang mac and cheese ever. Chicago was good to me, but outside waiting for that bus, -1, the only thing I had to keep me warm was a Green Bay Packer blanket, and I thought I was going to die.
I bet
someone was going to see me in that blanket, and it was terrifying. I in that moment, I wish it was a Bears jersey, or I wish it was a Bears blanket. I would have loved to put that Bears blanket on me and then lied about it later that it was a Green Bay blanket. But in that moment, totally wish it would have been a Chicago blanket. I felt very unsafe.
I can imagine. I can imagine, dear. And that's why whenever I go back to Chicago, I try to go in the summertime.
Mm-hmm.
It's nice and warm.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can imagine you've got a lot of looks and probably a lot of comments too. But so how hard was it to start the league? Like, did you have a lot of failures? Was it just like one thing that just started and just took off? Tell us how that came about.
Yeah, it's interesting, looking back on it so many years ago. I think that even if my situation would have been perfect, even if I would have been 29, and even if I would have, had my own house or my own studio or my own whatever, if everything would have been set up for me perfectly without knowing all that I know now, I still would have failed, right? And so back then, it was rough. I was calling games from a walk-in closet on Wi-Fi. I was, pacing back and forth in a ditch to talk about, to talk out the league, because you couldn't talk around the complex because there were always people around and noises and cars and all, and you needed a quiet place to really think. And it was a college, we were in college, noisy neighbors and questionable smells, and you know how it goes. So there were obstacles. I even called for a semester. I called games from my dorm room I shared with 2 other people, and I was on the first floor. Mm-hmm. And I was doing play-by-play, and if anybody's heard me do play-by-play, I am not the quietest play-by-play person. So I was having to do all that and manage all that through that time, and it was rough. It was really rough. We really didn't know what we had until, like 2016, when we really started to get some quality coaching. We started to get some quality broadcasters to help out. Mm-hmm. We started to get some quality people where it was like, wow, these people have a lot to offer here, not just being a team owner, right? It used to be you were a team owner and that's it. And that's all you could be, and that's all that was needed. You didn't need a coaching staff or scouts or players or anything like that. You could just run your team and be fine. And back around that 2016 period was when we really started to kind of realize what we have, grow into our own, and get some great opportunities that we were able to take advantage of. So there was definitely a lot of failure along the way, but I don't think you could have given me a bunch of money, you could have given me a bunch of equipment, you could have given me a bunch of advertising, and I would have screwed it up, because you don't know what you don't know. And that experience was super valuable. And now I'm 29, and I wish I knew all that I know back when I was 23, when I could pull all-nighters and I could do double headers, and it wasn't a big thing. I could just call whatever game. Now, after 3/4 of work on the air, I'm like, give me some water. Yeah, and it didn't used to be like that. So,
but to be fair, you do wear a lot of hats, though. It's more than just broadcasting. Give us like a list of things that you actually do for the league.
Yeah, well, first and foremost, I'm here for the community. I'm customer service. If you've got an issue or you've got a problem, I can't be the best commissioner, CEO, producer that I can be if I don't know that something's wrong. So if there's an issue, come tell me. If you're excited about something or happy about something, come tell me so I know that that's working. What is working and what isn't. All of that information is super helpful. And a lot of times you learn a lot about why something is the way that it is when you ask questions or you make comments or you engage in that way. So that's super important, and that's my job first and foremost. Secondly, I'm the executive producer, and every single broadcast that you see on TV or our network is produced from my studio here. Still a bit under construction as I need to totally green screen this wall, but we're working on it one step at a time.
Baby steps.
Baby steps. And I just moved here in July, so or June, so you got to give me some leeway time. I still have Texas plates and a Texas bank and a Texas. It's probably not going to get changed till I leave Arkansas. So, but yeah, so that is super important. If I do not push the games out to people, then they would never see them, and this league would be a lot different if you couldn't watch yourself play.
Exactly.
That's a big drawing point. The third thing is all the playbooks, super important, and all the coach points. Teams use coach points to boost players where they feel like they're weak and need some help, depending upon the matchup that they have that week. So if you think about it as they are points of emphasis in practice that week, that coaches are working on, that's what coach points are. So those get submitted to me, and that isn't public information to your opponent. So your opponent doesn't really know exactly what you're going to do there. The same thing with the playbooks. Each week you can change up a little bit of your playbook, not half of it, not all of it, a little bit of your playbook to add in some wrinkles to your game plan. And a lot of times what you add that week becomes emphasized by the AI. So you can make a little bit of maybe a more drastic adjustment if you're a good coach and you know what's going on. So those playbooks and putting that into our AI and our system, that's what makes these games so incredible and so competitive. Without custom playbooks and without our coaches who do such a great job scouting their opponents, these games would be, quite frankly, not a good product. They would be NFL preseason. They would be Alliance of American Football. They would be football that just isn't as good, or just doesn't keep your attention, hold your attention, and so they make the product go, and those are my main hats. Obviously, working with businesses. Working on the business side of things, talking to sponsors or TV or, my teams and owner meetings and my staff and staff meetings and those type of things. That stuff, is when there's time, right? But what's most important is we get all these games out, we get all these games played, and that these games get played when we say they're going to get played, because that's what adds credibility, legitimacy to the product. If we say your team's playing at 4 on Sunday and you show up at 4 on Sunday, you can expect to see the game. And that's what that's my job to deliver that.
Okay. Okay. So Since that is the case, and you pretty much have, it seems, the whole SFL world kind of on your shoulders, how do you find time to balance SFL with family and SFL being executive producer with your time with the community? How do you keep that balance in check?
Well, about 9 months ago, I sucked. It was bad, and I was struggling, trying to figure out that balance and find that balance. And it's really, really difficult, especially when you're trying to grow a business all at the same time. You're trying to grow a league. Having a league and having a business is like having two businesses. There's the league side of things, and then there's the economic side of things. And so that's really a challenge. And I think what really helped was holding myself accountable to my life and how I was living it. So, for example, outside my office door, I list my hours and the hours that I worked this week, and then I clear it for next week. And what that does is that if I've worked 70 hours, I know that I did. And then you can check yourself and say, you can't be doing that. If you work 70 hours every week, you'll gas out, and you're probably not going to find a balance with everything else you got going on in life. And so having that accountability for yourself to say, hey, well, I need to just go chill, just leave it, because you've done a lot. You've done enough. You need to balance your life. Otherwise, you can't be your best self. There's only so much you can do before you start actually being a hindrance to the operation, because it's not working. It's not flowing right. And so that's been huge. And I'm really, I guess, kind of proud of myself for making it a priority to keep track of it and to not let it go by the wayside, because it'd be very easy to, I know how much I work, when really, you can kind of lose sight of it. And with the community thing, it's ever evolving. I started this week. I kind of changed it up. I had 10 hours of one-on-one appointments, was getting a lot of the same people or not filling up anywhere near. And I was basically letting it be, right? Well, if people don't need to talk to me, they don't need to talk to me. And I guess everything's fine. But in reality, not everybody feels comfortable with one-on-one appointments. So I've started, doing just community talks, so that people want to speak can speak, or if people don't feel, they feel uneasy about asking a question and they'd rather pass their question on to somebody else and have somebody else answer it so that they can be there to hear the response, then they're still getting what they need, without having to feel that pressure of that one-on-one conversation. And then, I want to start connecting with the community in lots of different ways. And when you're the producer, you don't necessarily get to do that in game all the time, because there's a bunch of other things that you have to watch and manage and take care of. So the balance is difficult, but I think I'm starting to get my feet under me a little bit in trying to balance all that healthfully. Is that a word?
Yeah.
Healthfully? What is that? I don't know. Sorry. It's just,
It's okay.
I heard a Chicago Bears fan struggling with it, and now I can't get it out of my head. It's just
Maybe that's just not something you should say. However, but I did notice that. I was in the community meeting today, and I thought that was really nice of you to be able to connect with everyone like that and open up that extra time for people, because like you said, there are some people in the league that feel like their voices aren't being heard. Not that you're not listening, it's just that you're so, you're an executive producer, you do so much, that they may mention it in chat, but you don't see it. And then they feel like, oh my God, he's not really listening. He doesn't care, things like that. So And
it's one of those. Sorry to cut you off, Ashley, but it's one of those validating things too. Andre probably didn't know that I knew that he was sick, but I do. I haven't talked to him about it though. So he pops in. I say, "Hey, Andre, how you feeling?" Right, because that's my opportunity to reach out to him. Eagle Mondavi just had a kid. I'm not blowing him up, asking him how he's doing or if everything's okay all the time. But he pops in the chat, and I can say, "Hey, Eagle, how's the little one? What's going on?" Because I do care. There's when there's so many people and there's so much stuff going on, it can be very difficult to remember all of those things or be able to reach out one by one by one by one by one. If you can do it all in kind of a group, it can be really helpful, and it can show people that, hey, Cam does know. Maybe, he did see my comment in the chat after all. He did see my tag. He didn't respond to me, but he saw it, and now he is. So it's really important to me, and I hope that we see a bunch of different people, every day that it happens, is that, we see a different group all the time.
Absolutely. And, for those who are apprehensive about having those one-on-one conversations with you and things like that, it is a great setting because someone may ask a question that everybody may have that same question, and then you answer, they're like, oh, okay, I understand now. And I think if everybody took the time to kind of understand where the other person is coming from, or what the other person actually has going on, then maybe things will be a little bit, oh God,
you can go now. You needed to see it.
Camera and just ruining my whole shot. But yeah, so I do applaud you, and I'm looking forward to attending those meetings and just hearing the different ideas that people have. And now is the time to say something. Now is the time they have your attention, and so I hope that they utilize it.
Yeah.
For what it's worth.
Yeah. That's what I'm here for.
Exactly. So one more question before I let you go, because I know you have other things to do. Where do you see yourself in 5 years in life and with the league?
I hope that we're on. We are mainstream to millions of people. That's. I don't want to say any particular things to sound ungrateful to my current partners, okay, who are smaller and work really well with us right now. But I hope that it's mainstream, it's millions of people, and by 2025, people realize that just sitting down on the couch and watching television is just not as good as sitting down and watching something that you can actually be engaged in. And I think for a lot of people, we are in the process of educating the consumer how fun that can be. And then at the same time, we're asking you to also play a game on your phone where you can win money. And that's an education too, because why would you ever watch TV but then be looking at your phone? It's a learned behavior, right? That I'm just chilling watching TV, right? But it's a new opportunity to show people that you really can actually be involved in the product, in what you're watching. It's not some Real Housewives of whatever. It really is actual reality TV in a sense that it is real people. And it is their stories, and it is, nobody's trying to pretend or nobody's trying to be something that they're not. Everybody is just able to be themselves in kind of that purest form. And it's going to take some time. And I'm glad you gave me 5 years, Ashley, because if you would ask me where I hope to be in a year, I probably would fail on those projections. But yeah, and I mean, I think we can really be there. And the beautiful thing is that you grow with the technology. I think in the next 5 years, every part of our league will be improved, in part because there will be newer technology out there that helps make us better. And so it's you just got to keep your eyes and ears open, and when opportunity knocks, you got to open the door, take the meeting, and listen. And I think we're going to be there. People laughed when I said we're going to be on TV someday, and we did that, and we've been doing that, and I just got ratings today for August, and they are slightly up from July. Okay. So the season continues to trend in the right direction, and so that's that's really positive to see.
I lied when I said that was my last question. Okay, one more. Okay, sponsorship. How do you go by selecting the sponsors, the people that you work with? I know that we're doing the sponsorship with Crowd Play, which is awesome. That's the game within the game that I've been telling everybody about. That's absolutely amazing. But how do they approach you? Do you approach them? How does that work out?
It kind of depends. Sometimes they approach us. Sometimes we find them and see what kind of relationship we can have. And really, the type of partners that I like are the type of partners where we can help each other. Because I feel like if I'm just paying for a service, the relationship between me and the sponsor or the partner is a one-way street, and I like communication. And on the same token, if we're just being used and we're not getting anything out of it, then it doesn't work either. So in the example of Crowd Play, we can use Crowd Play to help enhance our product. It makes our product fun, interesting, and different. And that is a benefit to us. And obviously, us being able to dish out prizes and stuff, it also boosts morale, right, in the community, because those opportunities are out there. And if you're not taking advantage of your opportunities, that's on you, but they exist and they are out there. And so that does a lot for us, and that's great for us. But what we've been able to do for Crowd Play is to help them transition from being an in-stadium experience pre-COVID to being an in-stadium, but also a television from home experience too. Before us, Crowd Play had not done a TV event. They had not tried to have their game perform on TV before. It was always in stadium. And so helping them, they had also not done esports before. So helping them into a new category and helping them get some national TV pub, that never hurts, right? People don't know what Crowd Play is. Now they do. That means that both Crowd Play and the SFL can have a positive relationship for each other. We both want each other to succeed for us and for the other party. And those are the type of partnerships that work beautifully.
I commend you on all the work that you've done, all the time and effort that you put into this. This is basically like another job, but it's a fun job. It's something a dream that you had, that you are seeing it through. And I'm really happy for you, Cam. I've always told you that from the chats that we've had, throughout the years that we've been knowing each other. I've watched you grow. I've watched you go through those moments where you thought that maybe this wasn't working out, to things happening for you in succession, like the TV deal and all of that. So kudos to you, man. And I wish you the best in all you do.
Well, thank you, Ashley. I've watched you grow too, and you're going to be on TV soon. I just know it. We're moving pieces. We're moving pieces. So.
Well, that would be a blessing. That is not something that I'd ever thought about, From
podcast to YouTube to radio to TV, you're on your way up.
Now, if I can just get something other than those points towards gift cards for, Crowd Play, I don't know what it's up. Listen, I try my best to win some money.
It's hard.
But these points help. These points going towards gift cards for Dunkin' Donuts, towards Nike, all that good stuff. It's really fun. So I do hope that people take advantage of it. But Cam, thank you so much for your time, dear. I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, but before I do, I have to give you the last word. So that could be a song, that can be a poem, or that could be just a simple shout out. Right now, the floor is yours.
In the words of Eddie Gage, Sands, Arizona, SFL Nation, I love y'all. Thanks for coming. Good night. Drive home safely.
That's it. That's it. Oh, love you, man.
Love you too, Ash. I gotta bounce.
See you later. Thanks.
See ya. Bye.
Well, and that is it. Thank you all so much for joining me. I really appreciate you taking the time out to listen. Special thanks goes out to Colin and goes out to Cameron for being on the show. I really appreciate you guys, and please come back whenever you want to. And I extend the invitation out to you. If you're watching this and you're a player in the field, you want to come be on the show, tell your story, please. My door is always open. I would love to have you. I am looking forward to bringing you another great podcast next week. But until then, y'all, stay safe, treat each other well. Striker